It gives the Peugeot mid-range that extra touch of sportiness, along with a touch of crossover and a long wheelbase. The Peugeot 408. Where exactly is the new derivative based on the compact 308 positioned? Who is Peugeot targeting and who are its competitors? We find out on the streets around Barcelona. So there's two things you definitely can't accuse the French of: a lack of imagination and drabness. Also the Peugeot 408. A car that really stands out from the crowd. And not just because of the colour Obsession Blue, a new Peugeot colour, and by the way, at no extra charge. I really have to say the car is a sculpture of an automobile. The shape, with a sloping roofline typical of a coupe, coupled with an off-roader look thanks to plastic sills and increased ground clearance, is still an unusual sight on the roads. A similar concept can be found in the French competitors Citroën EC4X, C5X and Renault Arcana, as well as in the Polestar 2. The 408 stands out thanks to its typically Peugeot aggressive design in the spirit of the hungry lion on the logo. The Predator-like cat ears above the tailgate hinges are also a reminder of this. The huge plastic rear apron and the new rim design are very unusual. Its two platform brothers, the 308 as a hatchback and station wagon, which Peugeot calls SW, don't seem quite as extroverted. They are the models for the masses. Despite its own name, Peugeot sees the 408 as a derivative of the compact 308 family. The relationship cannot be denied in the front section and the rear lights. And the 408 also adopted the futuristic interior design from its brand brothers. Special feature, the interior was actually developed for the 408, but it was used in the 308 a year earlier. As with all models, Peugeot primarily appeals to a target group that has an eye for exceptional design.
It's a different profile, but they have in common that they are looking for something new and original. And they are a kind of people who are looking for more roominess, but keeping driving sensation of a sedan, a dynamic sedan. Or people who want something new, but with elegance, modernity, and this difference that they can express their own personality and their own uniqueness.
So its position in the model family is the eccentric. Its crossover style shouldn't make it an SUV, otherwise it would get a 00 name from Peugeot, like 4008. What's the driving experience like? Is Peugeot different here too? How does it feel to be on the road in the 408? So definitely very smooth, very calm. It's well insulated, and I wouldn't have expected. It's also relatively dynamic, especially here in terms of acceleration and steering. What is of course immediately noticeable is the low steering wheel position, which is typical of Peugeot. The goal here is to ensure that the view goes over the steering wheel to the speedo. Of course, it has the advantage that I don't partially cover the speedo in a curve, but it also has the disadvantage for people with long legs like myself, that it sometimes causes a bit of a problem with the knees, but I have to say that it still works here and is in the green zone. Underneath the sheet metal, there is a choice of a 1.2-litre petrol engine with 130 horsepower, 2 plug-in hybrids and a pure electric motor. The latter, however, will not yet be available at market launch. A diesel is not planned. We are underway in one of the 2 plug-in hybrids. They are available in 2 performance levels with 180 and 225 horsepower. The electrical components are always the same, including the 12.4 kilowatt-hour battery. The petrol engine is also the same, but it has a different power output, resulting in a system output of 180 and 225 horsepower. The large plug-in hybrid can travel 62 kilometers purely electrically. Charging is standard with 3.7 kilowatts. A 7.4 kilowatt onboard charger can be installed for an additional charge of €500. The The starting price for the petrol engine is €38,000. The larger hybrid, which is only available in the top GT trim line, starts at €52,000. If you like the mix of sedan and crossover, you have a cheaper alternative. With a base price of €30,000, the Renault Arcana 4000 is below the base 408. However, the 12cm shorter Arcana is not available as a plug-in hybrid. Group sister Citroën offers two crossover sedans. The EC4X is 9 cm shorter than the Peugeot and is only available electrically. The CX-5, on the other hand, is 11 cm longer and the same price with the same engine and similar equipment. The Polestar 2 is only comparable to a limited extent because it always runs purely electrically. Nevertheless, its starting price of €46,000 is €6,000 below that of the 225 HP 408 hybrid. Given the high starting price, you also have to give the 408 credit for the fact that it comes with a comparatively large amount of basic equipment. I think it's a bit of a trend that the entry-level equipment variants are being phased out by many manufacturers. This is now also the case with Peugeot. It was always the active trim line. Now it starts with the Allure. There is also the Allure Pack, and we are currently driving the GT line, which is a bit sportier. For me personally, I have to say the Allure, that is the entry-level version, would actually be enough for me. Everything you need is in there. Maybe I would add heated seats, but things like a navigation system, parking sensors, even a 180-degree reversing camera are all included in the base. Very cool, for example, this infotainment system with the i-toggles, as they are called. This means that with 3 fingers on the display, we get into a menu and then we can reassign the toggles below. For example, what do I have here? Phone. I don't need that often. Then I click on it longer and swap it with climate. Then I click on it once, and then I have climate in the bar down here. I think that's very cool. Free fun fact on the side. In China, the crossover is called the 408X. Reason? There is already a 308-based sedan for the Chinese market that bears the name 408. The 408 for the rest of the world should offer one thing above all: lots of space. One of the key points about the 408 is that it has such a long wheelbase. The 308SW has 6 centimeters less wheelbase. This means that this benefits the occupants, and especially those sitting in the back. And let's try that now. Indeed. Wow! So I rarely have that much legroom. Me at 1.93 meters, the front seat is also adjusted to me. I have a lot of space here when it comes to my knees, legs. But if you look up now, things look a little different. Now only one palm fits in between. We also have dark headlining, which makes it seem a bit constricted. And we have the sunroof, which means the roof comes down a little bit more. If it weren't for that, I would have said 408, great chauffeur's limousine. But unfortunately, that gets in its way a bit. With 471 to 1528 litres, the boot size is between the compact 308 and the station wagon 308SW. So there are no surprises when it comes to storage space, but the rear passengers are happy about having plenty of room. Where exactly is the 408 positioned? We clarified that. Who are its competitors? We clarified that. A third question is still missing. Who will buy the 408? According to Peugeot, its customers are active and design-oriented. However, I hear a lot of manufacturers say that about their cars. But design is an important point, because the customer of a conservative VW Passat is not the customer of a 408. He wants to stand out from the crowd, be different. He's looking for a sedan with certain extras. But what's also striking is that it's a very typical French car concept. Just a bit out of the box. The main thing is to be different, typically French. Chic first, the rest second.